welcome to Aloha Flow. I'm Ariel, as you know, and we're in Oahu. We're in the North Shore today. We are just on the other side of me is the beach here. And as I've been hopping around from North Shore to Maui to Honolulu, what's been key for me is this practice of staying present during these transitions, right? Even when the technological glitches happen, this practice of being present in order to take the challenges, the twists and turns, whatever comes my way. So in our practice today, there will be some opportunity to play in handstand if you want to do that. But remember that it's not about the end goal. It's not about the peak pose. It's about how you get there and the presence, the peace of mind, the compassion, the mindfulness in every step you take, and even the thought process that happens as you're in the posture and get out of the posture, right? So let the journey be just as important as the destination. That's our intention for today. Now, if you want to listen to music, we will hit play together. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button. And then make your way into child's pose. Now in your child's pose, I invite you to have your knees wide and your big toes together. And then let the arms go wide as well, so you can frame the edges of your mat with the forehead tapped down on the earth. And as you settle in here, maybe it feels good to sway the hips side to side, or rub your forehead on the earth, that third eye. As we begin this transition from the outside world to the inner, allow your breath to be your guide. Listen to that soft sound of the ocean. Let it hold all of your attention. Explore where the breath travels to. The back body, the ribs as they expand. Notice on the breath out that slight drawing in of the abdomen. And in this way, our attention to our breath brings us into our body. Meeting yourself here on your mat. Honor any body parts that feel sensitive or tender today. Send them a love note, a thank you card for showing you where you need to spend some attention, to share some breath. Now knowing the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, set an intention. Choose how you want to approach this practice and this life. Seal in that intention with another long breath in. And as you breathe out, reach your arms out, stretch a little farther in front of you, waking up the pores beneath your fingertips. Now on your next breath in, rise up into a tabletop and continue to move towards cow pose, swaying the belly towards the ground, lifting the chin. And then return to child's pose on the breath out, untucking the toes, bringing the hips to the heels and the forehead to the floor. Good. Do that 2 more times as you breathe in, rising up onto the hands and the knees, finding that cow shape. And then exhale, returning back into the child's pose. Another round just like that. Inhaling, coming back up onto the tabletop, looking up. Exhale, swaying the hips back into the heels, forehead to the floor. Now build upon this, transitioning up through hands and knees, swaying the belly, tucking the toes. This time, lift the knees off the earth, lengthen through the legs, press back into the downward facing dog. Stay with that. Inhale, shifting forward, lower the knees to the mat, sway the belly towards the earth as you look up. Exhale, untucking the toes, hips to the heels, forehead to the floor. Slow, slow, slow. 2 more rounds, just like that. Inhale, finding cow pose, lifting the chin, swaying the belly. Exhale to downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, hollow the low ribs. Do that again, shifting onto the hands and knees, sway the belly towards the earth, broaden the collarbones, traction the palms back. Exhale, hips to the heels, forehead to the floor. 1 more. Inhale, roll up. Maybe it looks more like a cobra. The hips can travel farther forward if you wish. With the toes tucked under, lift the knees, lift the hips. Inhale, shifting back into that tabletop. Lifting the chin on that same breath in. Exhale, hips to heels, forehead to floor. Good. Inhale, rise back up through that cow shape. Inhale, look up. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, pause in the downward facing dog. Continue that slight rhythm. You can pedal out the heels or sway your tail. Letting the rhythm of the breath remain steady. Settle the legs. Notice how they look parallel to you. Watch your heels disappear behind your ankles, spiraling the inner thighs back. Now an essence of cat pose in the spine. Just hug the low ribs in a little bit. Feel the triceps wrapping towards the mat, as if your elbow creases can see your index fingers. And spreading through your fingers, press the hips back. 1 more breath. Good. Inhale, shift into high plank pose. Elevate the heels, ripple through the spine, stacking shoulders over wrists just as you need. And then take a moment to refine. Watch the fingers spread wide, the fingerprints press into the mat, the grounding of the metacarpal knuckles. And then pushing the floor down and also pulling the floor back. Feeling those low ribs hug in, the low belly draw in as you lengthen your tail and squeeze through your kneecaps. So although this pose might seem static, there's still movement, there's still growth, there's transformation. Take 1 more breath. And then 5 counts to the earth. Exhale for 5. Hug the elbows in for 4. Feel the shoulders squeeze together behind you for 3. Hover, hover, hover. 2, 1, and release. Untuck your toes. Take your hands off of your mat just to the edge. Point your elbows up towards the sky. Fingers are like claws, like spiders for spider cobra. Inhale, pressing into the fingertips. Lift your head, lift your heart, loop your shoulders back. And then exhale, bring your right ear down onto the mat. Inhale to rise, pressing into the finger pads and the tops of your feet. Now the left ear comes to the ground. Breathe out. Inhale, roll up, maybe a little bit more height in the ribs. This time as the right ear comes to the floor, draw your right shoulder forward. Try to touch the ground with your right shoulder head. Inhale, roll your heart back up. Exhale, left ear to the mat, dip the left shoulder forward, try to touch the earth. Inhale as you rise back up. 1 more round. As that right shoulder dips forward, look over your left shoulder. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, left shoulder dips forward, look over the right. Now go ahead and rise up and we'll pause here. Feel the tops of your feet press into the ground so much that the knees squeeze. Feel the length in the tailbone, that lift in the front of your waistband. The shoulders drop back, broaden the collarbones, look up. Awesome. Exhale, release to the mat. Slide the hands in so they're on the floor beneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, light up those kneecaps. Take an in-breath. Exhale, high plank pose. Nice. Take a breath in that high plank. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a full breath here. Ground into your index finger knuckles to protect your wrists. Now watch your right leg lift, three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, bring the right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, press back through your right leg. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Inhale, kick it high, three-legged dog. One more time. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose and pause there as you inhale, round the upper back. Step forward with the right foot, and then choose if you want to use blocks or maybe just the fingertips come to the mat. Now soften the left knee, let it hover an inch above the floor. Draw your collarbones broad and then look forward. Inhale. Now as you breathe out, lengthen through both legs and drape your head down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale as you bend both knees, shifting the hips forward and towards the floor. Look up. Exhale, lengthen through your legs, lifting through the hips, relaxing through the head. Do that 1 more time. Maybe get a little deeper into the lunge, a little higher with the heart. Exhale, this time lengthen the legs and hold it right there. Now you can walk your blocks back or walk your fists back so the hands stack underneath the shoulders. And then for more intensity, flex your right ankle, lift through the right toes and ball mount. Now putting more weight in the hands, dig that right heel through the floor like you want to pull the floor back. Feel that right hip crease pull back, and then look back at that left heel, let it sink towards the mat. 1 more breath. Folding in. Good. Inhale, lengthening through the arms, the legs, look up. Exhale, bend into that right knee, and then place that left hand on the floor. Spin the fingertips open 45 degrees, twist, right hand towards the sky. It might seem static, but there's still movement. That left quad is turning on. The left glute is firing. Feel your right heel dig into the ground and then pull that right hip back even more. So the twist can start from the low belly. 1 last breath. Twist, twist, twist. Beautiful. Release your right hand to the mat. Inhale, step your right foot back, high plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Hug your elbows in as you lower halfway. Flip to the tops of your feet, lift through your chest, upward dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. And watch your left leg rise into the sky, three-legged dog, mindfully, slowly. Exhale, left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, press back, three-legged dog. Left knee, right elbow, twist and touch under the torso. 1 more time, launch your left toes into the sky. Exhale, knee to the nose. Pause here as you breathe in. Protract the shoulder blades, push the floor away, and then slide that heel between the hands gracefully. Lighten up the touch on the fingertips. Soften through that back knee. Look up. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen your legs. Drape down with the back of the neck. You got 2 more rounds. Slowly going a little deeper with every cycle. Inhale to the lunge. Exhale to the variation of pyramid. 1 more. Inhale, shift the weight forward, look up. Exhale, lengthen the legs, pausing here. Readjust the hands so they're underneath the shoulders. And if you enjoyed the variation on the other side, start to flex that left ankle. But press forward with the ball mound of the tippy toes. Now let the chest soften over the thigh. Look back at that right calf. Notice if you're lifting your heel for no good reason. See if you can soften that heel towards your mat. Good, 2 more breaths. Relax the jaw, 1 more round. Good, inhale to lengthen your spine, look forward. Exhale, bend the left knee. Stack the right palm on the mat, spiral the fingertips open 45 degrees, and then the left hand reaches for the ceiling. And you continue to refine your pose from that back leg turning on, that left heel getting heavy, but also that right shoulder. Roll it back and down and match it with the left. Smile up at that left thumb. Take 1 more breath. Awesome. Release the left hand to the mat. Inhale, step your left foot back, high plank. Chaturanga. It's a choice. You can do knees, chest, chin. You could also skip it at any point. We'll meet in the downward facing dog every time. Take a full breath. Let it go. Inhale, elevate the heels. Look at your hands. Exhale, bend your knees a lot, and then walk or hop lightly to the top. With your feet hips width apart, lengthen your spine halfway, and then bend your knees as much as you need to slide your hands underneath the soles of your feet for Padahastasana. Massage your hands with your toes. Relax the back of your neck. Look for your belly button. Feel the shoulders come away from the ears, scoop them back. And then do your best to lean the hips forward just a little more. Okay, 1 more breath. Awesome. Go ahead and slide your hands out from under your feet. With the bend in your knees, round your spine, rise up to standing. Keep your arms by your side, shrug your shoulders back and down, and close your eyes. Find that stack in your bones with the head over the heart, heart over the hips, hips over the heels. And from there, squeeze the muscles to the bones, lifting through the kneecaps. Imagine there's a block between your thighs. Use the adductors. Feel that exhale in the abdomen, drawing in. And as you loop the shoulders back, that squeeze in the rhomboids, the shoulders pinching together. Find steadiness and ease. 1 more breath. Exhale. Now let your breath guide you through Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to extend halfway up. Exhale, plant your palms, step or float your feet back. And from plank to chaturanga, continue to exhale. Inhale, coming through upward dog. Feel your shoulders loop back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now count 3 mindful breaths. Refine the fingers. Refine the arms. Refine the ribs. Get on your next breath in, lift the heels, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, walk, hop, transition to the top, feet hips width apart. Halfway lift, lift through the kneecaps. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, coming all the way up, long spine, reach for the sky. Hands to the heart, exhale. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, dive, forward fold. Heads up, halfway, breathe in. Hands to mat, step or float it back. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take your breaths. One more deep breath. And inhale, lift the heels, prepare. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. Walk or hop, take it to the top. Feet hips width apart, halfway rise. Exhale, fold in. Inhale all the way up. Hands to heart. One more round, reach up, Utthita Tadasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step or float, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Refine your pose. One breath at a time. Evolving deeper into yourself. Last round. You know what to do. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees. Walk, hopper, handstand to the top. When you get there, feet together, big toes touch. Take that halfway lift. Exhale as you fold in. Inhale all the way up. Pull the hands through the heart. Relax the arms by your sides. Close your eyes. Even in this moment of stillness, there's movement in the breath. Stay with it. Take one more round. Breathe out. Gotta open the eyes, sit low for chair pose. Bend the knees, hands can reach forward or up by the ears. Move your hips farther back, bring weight into the heels. Bend your knees a little deeper, bring more weight into the toes. Now curl through the tail slightly like cat pose. And then take the hands together, take a breath in. Twist to your right, exhale, left elbow hooks outside the right thigh. We'll be here for 3 breaths. Think about that right hand pushing into the left hand so much that it helps you lift your chest. Feel your right knee and left elbow press into one another equally. Hollow the low belly and twist through the ribs. Hug your left hip back, one more breath. Good, keep the chair shape, just unwind the twist. Inhale. Exhale, other side, right elbow hooks outside the left thigh. Pressing left hand into right, turn your heart up. Pressing elbow into thigh, hug the right hip back. Feel that exhale happening way deep down in the belly button. Use that deep core muscle to help you twist. Awesome. Unwind the twist. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, step or float, Chaturanga. Inhale through up dog. Exhale, take it home. Enjoy 2 more breaths. Last one. Good. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Exhale, draw the right knee to the right elbow, shoulders over wrists. Do it again. Inhale, lengthen through your right leg. Right knee, right tricep, connect. Inhale, kick it high one more time. Exhale, right knee, right armpit, pause there. Round the upper back, find that protraction. And then place your right foot on the floor behind your right wrist. Spin your left heel to the ground 45 degrees. And then take your hands to your hips as you rise up into this shortened version of Warrior One. Now do your best to ground that back heel. And from there, drive your left hip forward so the right hip can come back. Feel the tailbone lengthen towards the mat, that slight lift in the front of the waistband. And then send that right shin forward to stack. Now extend your arms overhead, take a deep breath in. Give your left arm a tricep stretch. Place that left hand on your upper back and hold on to that left elbow with your right hand. Now weave your left elbow behind your head. Lift your chin, press into the upper arm. And then keep grounding through that right big toe as you slowly lean towards the right with your torso. Breathing into that left hip crease, 2 more rounds. Strong in that back leg. Yeah. Inhale, re-extend the arms overhead. Exhale, lengthen through your front leg, interlace your hands behind your back. Extend through your arms. You could also be using a strap or a towel between the palms. Lift through your kneecaps. And then exhale, begin to hinge forward. You can have your forearms on your glutes to notice if they feel asymmetrical, and then continue to dive in. Now, if breathing is challenging, release the bind. Let the hands support you. Otherwise, the bind, the arms, they swoop up and overhead. We want to keep a little bend in the knees, but activate the quadriceps, especially since we have no palms helping our balance. Use what you got. Press down through the big toes. Spread all the toes wide. Steer that right hip back. Look towards your navel. Feel that exhale. Take one more breath. Yeah. And then let your forearms find your waistband, halfway rise. Exhale, take the arms wide like an airplane. And then twist. Left hand comes down for the right foot or the right shin or the block. The more you push down, the more you reach up. Hug the right hip crease back. Feel the inner thighs gather towards the midline. It's like the sitting bones squeeze into the tailbone. How's the breath? Fill the back ribs. One more breath. Now keep the twist in your torso. Look down with your eyes. Bend the right knee. Walk the left hand forward. Find your version of revolved half moon. Now, the more your left toes spiral inwards, the more your right ribs can spiral open. Keep a bend in the standing leg as long as you need to, but active through your lifted leg. Turn on the glute, turn on the quadricep. Stay steady in the breath. One more. Awesome. Then take the right hand to the floor. Here's where you can practice your handstand kick-ups. Alternatively, step back, cycle through your vinyasa. If you're working on your handstand, the hands are shoulder distance apart. Spread the fingers wide. Generous bend in the standing leg. And like a laser beam, the left toes reach for the sky. Give it a few kicks. Stay strong through the arms. That right heel is going to try to kick your seat once the foot leaves the floor. And maybe you hover, maybe not. If you have your handstand, hold it for as long as you like, and then we'll work our way back. From handstand, you can step it back or float it back, plank to chaturanga. I'll meet you in downward dog. Exhale. Whatever did or didn't happen, let it go. Returning to this present moment. Breathe out. Take one more round. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, bring left knee to left elbow. Inhale, re-extend through the tippy toes. Exhale, left knee, left tricep, connect. One more, kick it high, inhale. Exhale, left knee, left armpit, pause there. Round the upper back as you breathe in, and then place that left foot on the floor behind the wrist. Spin your right heel to the earth, 45. Inhale, hands to hips, lift the chest. It all starts at that back leg, grounding through the heel. Drive the right hip forward, see that left hip hug back. Lengthening through the tail, activate the low abdomen, and then deepen the bend in the left knee. Nice, arms up, breathe in. Right hand to the upper back, breathe out. Catch that elbow with the left hand, weave it behind the head, stabilize through that left big toe, lift up through the elbow, and then lean to the left. Two more breaths into the right psoas. Awesome. Inhale, unwind, arms to the sky. Exhale, lace the fingers behind the back, lengthen the left leg. Inhale, open up the chest. Keep the legs turned on as you dive forward. Exhale. Remember, the hands can touch the ground for more support. If your hands are bound, try to keep a little bend in the elbows. That'll help you retract the rhomboids, shoulders squeezing together behind you. Feel steady in the legs, strong in the quadriceps. One more breath. Okay, find that halfway lift position where the forearms find your low back. And then arms wide like an airplane, exhaling. Twist, right hand comes down, left hand reaches up. That right hand is on the shin, the block, or the foot. But you're gonna wanna push down into whatever you're in contact with. So make contact. Push down a lot and look up. Feel the inner thighs hug to the midline, like you had a block between your thighs. Let that inner squeeze travel up through the navel, the shoulder blades. And then looking down, keep the twist. Just walk that right hand forward and lift the right foot off the ground. Now you have one less point of contact. Use the two that you have. Push through the right palm to open up through the left arm. Spin the right toes in to open up through the left ribs. Keep that little bend in the standing leg as long as you need to. And then reach from edge to edge. One more breath. Awesome. Hand to the earth. Step it back, or handstand kick up, other side, hands shoulder distance apart. Think like cat pose in the spine. The bouncing leg, the one on the floor, it bends a lot, so you can launch off the ground, and then the lifted leg is like a laser beam, searching for the ceiling. You draw that left heel towards the seat, and eventually the feet find each other, and you squeeze the feet together, squeeze the glutes, hold it for as long as you can, and then we will cycle through. Maybe bend the elbows, go straight into that up dog. We'll meet in a child's pose when you get there. Exhale. Witness how your child's pose feels now. Breathing into any body parts that need some extra love and attention. Now I invite you to rest in your child's pose as long as you like. But if you're feeling flighty today, here's your opportunity to practice forearm stand, Pincha Mayurasana. So take the forearms to the floor. They're parallel. You can do that thing where you hold onto the biceps and then remeasure the hands. Let the flesh of the elbow catch through the inside. So hug the elbows in and then press down. And then we'll lift the knees off the ground, dolphin pose. You can stay here, pressing through the chest. Or looking forward, lift your favorite leg. You have to lean forward, like your nose is gonna touch the ground between your thumbs. And maybe you practice that launch a few times. You can look farther forward to help you find the lift in the legs. And then the big toes find each other, squeeze the glutes. Everything in the midline firing. Breathe. And whenever you're complete, you can come back to that child's pose. Take 2 more breaths wherever you're at. On your next exhale, reach longer through your fingertips. Inhale, rise up onto the hands and knees. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, lengthen the legs, down dog. Fill the body with breath. Two more. Good. Please lift your right leg to the sky and bend your right knee, open up your hips. Stay for another breath, relax the left calf, push through your right hand, level off your right shoulder. And elevate the left heel, breathe in. Right knee to the left elbow, twist and touch. Do that again. Inhale, keep the bend in the right knee as you open through the hips in 3-legged dog. Right knee, left elbow, use the torso, the core. One more, inhale, turn the hips open. Right knee, left elbow, and then follow through. Kick your foot out towards the left for fallen triangle. Spin your left heel to the floor. Stretch your left arm up towards the sky. Feel the shoulders gather back behind you. The ribs curl in, lengthen to the tail, and then maybe the right heel floats for 3, 2, Now, if your foot is floating, put it back on the floor where it came from. Keep your heels on the ground, just pivot them around so you can lower your seat to the mat facing the back right corner of your mat. Legs about 90 degrees. You can stay up tall, little bend in the knees, or walk the hands forward for a wide-legged seated forward fold. Stay active through your feet. Press out through the big toes. Imagine the pinkies wanted to touch the ground. Spiral them open. Let the belly search for the earth. Okay. Now go slow. Walk your hands back up. Take your right hand behind you towards the top of your mat. Float your hips off the floor through that fallen triangle. Circle the left arm all the way up and around like you're coming into high plank pose with the hands. Keep your right leg where it is. Just spin that left heel up so it stacks over the ball mound. And then we're going to lower down onto the outside of that right thigh. Now, if it's a little intense, you bring that right heel farther down the mat. Otherwise, try to keep that perpendicular angle. That left leg is active. Turn on the quads, flex the ankle. And then with the forearms on the floor, chug your weight forward. Come up and over so you're really on the side of the thigh and you're opening through that hip crease. Now you can stay here, getting that stretch in the outer right hip. If you want to add a shoulder stretch, weave your left arm underneath your chest, like thread the needle, and then rest your forehead on the right fist. 5 breaths. Active in the limbs. Fluid in the breath. Last 2. All right, now unweave the arms if you're in the shoulder stretch. Have the hands on the floor beneath the shoulder head so you can do a push-up. Now take a breath in as you rise. And then weave that right leg through, 3-legged dog, open through the hips. And then flip into the wild thing. Left hand on the floor, turn the heart open, breathe for 3. Squeeze through the left knee. Good, and then flip it over, 3-limbed plank pose, inhale. 3-limbed chaturanga, exhale. Find that up dog, breathe in. Take it home, down dog pose. Awesome, full breath in. Smooth breath out. Lift the left leg, open the hips. Send that left shoulder level with the right. Elevate the right heel, breathe in. Left knee, right elbow, twist and touch. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, kick the left knee to the sky. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, follow through this time. So kick the left foot open towards the right side of your mat, and then spin the right heel down, lift the right arm up. The shoulder blades squeeze together on your back body so the arms integrate into the torso, and then maybe the left leg floats for 3, 2, strong inner thighs, last one. Awesome, put that foot back on the floor, just like before, spin on the heels, lower your seat to the earth, that same 90-degree angle in the legs, and then we'll go for the side body variation of this stretch. So take your right hand or your right elbow inside the right thigh, and that left hand can come up and overhead. Now imagine I'm coming through your screen and pulling on your left heel. Reach that left heel away from you. And then someone else is pulling on that left hand, reaching apart. Use that pressure between your right arm and leg to help you spiral the left ribs open. 3 more breaths. Awesome. Go ahead and rise up with your chest, and we'll go the other way. Left hand or elbow inside of the thigh. Right arm up and over. Someone's pulling on your right heel, reach it out. Someone's pulling on your right arm, reach long. And then lean back. Awesome. Take your time to rise on your next breath in. Awesome. Left hand behind you. Lift your hips. Find that fallen triangle. Transition that right arm all the way around to the high plank variation. Spin that right heel off the earth, but keep the left leg where it is. Adjust the depth and then slowly lower down. Take the elbows to the ground. Pull your chest forward, clipping the outer hip crease onto the earth, and then strong through that right leg. You can stay like this, or the right arm weaves underneath the chest. The left hand turns into a fist. 5 breaths. Awesome. Unweave the shoulder stretch. Take the hands under the shoulders and then go slow as you rise up. Push the ground away, breathing in. Weave that left leg through. Find that 3-legged dog on your way into the wild thing. The right hand stays down. Left toe spiral around. Turn the heart up and breathe. 2, 1. Awesome. Flip it over. 3-limbed plank. Inhale. Last chaturanga. Exhale. Up dog. Breathe in. Good. Downward dog. Breathe out. Take 2 more breaths. And just witness how your dog has transformed. Yeah. Now let your feet come together and then take your knees to the ground. Keep the toes tucked under as you sit your hips back onto your heels. We'll stretch the feet for a moment here. If this is too intense, you can have the hips lifted off of the knees or off of the heels, stacked over the knees. Otherwise, let the arms come by your sides. Take a few shoulder shrugs. And then keeping the shoulders drawn back, reach your right arm across your lower back and catch your left arm. You can stay like this, or holding onto the left bicep, you can fold that elbow, reaching your left palm forward like you're giving someone a gift in front of you. That'll help your right shoulder drop back, and then take the left ear towards the left shoulder. Sway the chin, find that sweet spot. Good. And then lift the head back up onto the spine, unwind the bind. With the shoulders back, we'll find the other side. Left arm across the low back, bend the right elbow, reach the fingertips forward, and then right ear towards right shoulder. Now if the feet are had enough, if they've had enough, you can untuck the toes at any time, but you can also try to just be curious about that sensation. Send your breath there. Take 2 more breaths into the left side of your neck. Awesome. Unwind the binds, loop the shoulders back, and then you could take the hands forward onto the floor. Untuck the toes, flip the tops of the feet onto the ground, give them a little pat. Wake them up. And then keeping the toes untucked, bring your hips back onto the heels again. Take your hands to the floor by your sides, by your shins, and then see if you can lean back and stretch the tops of your feet by lifting your knees, pulling the thighs up towards the belly, stretching through the shins, maybe even lengthening the legs a little more. Awesome. Now, if you happen to have blocks, you can grab them, put them by your sides, and we'll practice our transition to a seat. The hands are going to come a little bit farther forward, and then so they're by the knees, and then you can lift the hips, slide the heels through, and then lower your bottom to the earth for a seated forward fold. So with a little bend in the knees, walk those sitting bones back. Extend the arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, fold in half. Enjoy the journey. Take the breath into the low back. Soften in. Breathing into the middle back. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Fill up the upper back. And at the collarbones, search for the shins. Breathe into the back of the neck. Unlock the chin slightly, send the throat towards the earth. And breathing in all the way up through the crown, through the tops of your ears. Stay in this deepest version of your fold. One more round. Awesome. Inhale, start to rise. Send your hips towards the middle of your mat by bending your knees. And then find boat pose. The hands can stay behind you. Lift your feet. Bring the big toes together like you had a block between your thighs. The hands stay where they are, or reach your hands forward. Now the shoulders squeeze together. Feel that pinch on your shirt. Notice that exhale in the abdomen. Option to lengthen through your legs. Breathe in. Spiral the inner thighs towards the ground. Widen through the heels. Option to lengthen through the arms. Breathe in. Shaking is okay as long as you're breathing. Make all those micro movements for 3 more breaths. Hugging to the midline, the big toes pushing together, the navel to the spine, the shoulders squeeze. 1 more, just breathe. And then lowering down, the hands can reach forward. Slowly, slowly, we'll bring everything to the ground. Just pause for a breath. Slide your heels up your mat. Stack your knees over your heels. Take the arms long by your sides. Can you feel your heels with your fingertips? Awesome. Now exhale. Breathing in, lift your hips off the floor, bridge. Interlace your hands. Roll your arm bones underneath your torso. Keep a little bend in the elbows, puff up through the chest. Lengthen your tail towards your knees. Narrow the knees like you had a block to squeeze. Now move the floor down and forward with your feet. Lifting through the chin, take 1 more breath in. Go ahead, exhale, release the interlaced hands, relax your back down onto your mat. Widen your heels, let your knees rest on one another. Take a couple breaths. This sacred pause, this place between postures, between thoughts, between the items on your to-do list. It's an opportunity to check in. How's the breath, the body, the level of energy? And holding this awareness in your mind, choose bridge pose or wheel, whatever is in alignment with this version of you that you find. Reset the feet when you're ready. Exhale. Inhale, lift your hips off the floor. Interlace the hands or bring the hands back by the shoulders. Rise onto your tippy toes and then position the crown of your head on the ground. Loop the shoulders back, narrow the elbows, narrow the knees, and then lift the head. Pressing into the tippy toes, move the floor forward. Maybe the heels come to the floor. How's the breath? Stay with it. 3 more. 2, 1. Awesome. Go slow. Tuck the chin in. Lower the back of the skull. When you land on the ground, just let the feet heel toe as wide as your mat. Keep the arms overhead and tick-tock the knees right and left. When you had enough of those tick-tocks, hug your knees in and hold on to your kneecaps. Rock around in some circles here. Reverse the direction of your circles. Massaging your back, Now, like eagle, cross your right thigh over your left. Maybe the right toes slide underneath your left calf. Scoot your hips to the right an inch or so, and then twist your knees over to the left, towards your left armpit. Stay compact. Now that right hand you can feel on your sacrum, your lower back. Take your breath there. And then send that right arm open to the right. Turn your chin to the right. Feel free to close your eyes. But notice if your inner thigh muscles are active. Can you make them passive? And a few more breaths here in your twist. Awesome. Start to unwrap your ankles and then your legs coming through center. And then other side, left thigh over right, left toes behind the right calf. Scooch the hips to the left and then twist the knees all the way up into the right armpit. Staying in this tight little ball, you can take that left hand to the sacrum and notice how we create more space there with the knees crossed like this. So you're going to breathe into that space. And then open the left arm wide, turn your chin to the left. Check in with the inner thigh muscles. We use them a lot today, but part of the practice is not learning how to engage, but also disengage. Take one more breath in your twist. And then make your way back towards center, untangling the legs first. And you can curl in, give yourself one last squeeze or anything else you need. And on your breath out, release into Shavasana, which can look however you want it to look today. Feel free to have the feet on the floor with the knees bent if your back body is feeling tender. Or have the feet together and the knees wide. Maybe even swing your legs up the wall. But when you find this ultimate stillness, trust that everything in your life has led you to this moment. Everything in our practice was designed to set you up for this moment in time. Let go of the breath, exhale. Release the jaw. Relax your tongue. Soften the muscles around your eyes. Notice where you end and the world begins. Give yourself permission to surrender. Notice what comes up. Just as you watch your lungs breathe and your heart beat, witness the complications of the mind. It's just another function of the body, one that you can control by thinking about the breath, or maybe the mantra, inhale, let, exhale, go. You're welcome to stay in this sweet sanctuary for as long as you need. The space between thoughts that is timeless, and you could take it with you, slowly deepening the breaths, following that unbroken thread, as if each breath you take was the most important breath of your entire life. Always on the edge of time. And as the breath deepens, the body comes alive, awakening the toes, the fingers, letting that movement grow into wrist circles or ankle circles. Take your time to reach the arms overhead and the toes down below. Soften into the earth, just sink down, let gravity hold you, breathe out. Now go slow as you roll to one side. Find a sacred pause when you get there. As we move from this inner world to the outer world, we have to go slowly to carry that with us, that inner peace. Rise mindfully to your seat when you're ready. I'll meet you there with hands at heart center. Close your eyes, bowing inwards. Take this moment to arrive at this point in your life, exactly where you're meant to be. Take a breath. Give it back. The light in me honors the divine light within you. Thank you very much. Namaste.